Wow. Another day, another blessings, another silly, another living archive. LA July Series 2026 Week 1. Are you guys ready? Drop in the comment where you're joining us live and let us know that we are together. Oh, wow. What a wonderful pleasure and a great honor to come back to this live session of a living archive. This is what we're going to do. It's simple. Drop in a comment where you're joining us from. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a living archive. Let me know if you guys can see us live, and if you don't mind, let me know where you're joining us from. This is a living archive July series. Yes, I hope now we ready to go. What we have now in the house, it's to go down with today's session. If you guys are ready, I hope now we can start. Uh, Just a moment. Sorry for a moment. Some minutes, please. All right. So here we go. All right. Thank you, everyone who's joining us. Good afternoon, good morning, good day, good evening, wherever you're joining us from, and welcome to our Living Archive, a global conversation where we explore how memory, culture, and digital systems shape the future. I'm delighted to welcome everyone joining us from across Africa and around the world. As people continue connecting, let us know where you joining from in the comment. Welcome to week 1 of our July series. We emphasizing about the narratives power digital memory throughout this July. Through this month, we will explore how archives influence society, not simply as places that preserve history, but as infrastructures that shape identity, policy, technology, culture, and our collective future. Today's conversation asks an important question. If archives preserve memory, who determines the story they tell? And how do these stories influence tomorrow? This series is presented by IRAGE Corporation, IRAGE Corporation, as you heard. This IRAGE, to make it clear, it's normally like in Rwandan word, literally means inheritance. However, we make it to make it an acronym for our innovation for a generative African generational excellence, as we envision this. Through the Digital Heritage Preservation platform, we are building the living archives for future generations. Today's theme is the archive as narrative infrastructure, as a week 1. Archives are much more than collections or documents or photographs. They influence education, public memory, legitimacy, innovation, and even how society imagine themselves. In the digital age, archives are becoming active systems that connect communities, technology, and knowledge across generations. I'm pleased to assess if our guest speaker have joined now so that we can go with them. Okay. And we'll be having in the house Mrs. Eiloghosa. As I'm introducing them, even though they are yet joining, but they are coming, I'm pretty sure they'll be joining us. Eiloghosa Obobaifo, our first guest, whose work explores storytelling, digital transformation, communication, and the role narratives play in shaping institution and society. She's one of the most prominent women, particularly in restitution, and she has worked along the digital Benin, and we look forward to hearing his perspective. I mean, her perspective on why narrative has become one of today's most influential forms of infrastructure. And by another blessings, we'll be having and it's a great honor to welcome Greg Bakunzi, a leader in community-based tourism conservation and sustainable cultural development. Greg has consistently demonstrated how heritage, local knowledge, and authentic storytelling can create both social impact and economic opportunity. He's founding the Red Rocks Initiative for social development. And when it comes to the CBT hub, I mean, community-based tourism, they have a hub, a cultural center where community ownership and accountability really much to mean. Why does really archive considered as an infrastructure? All right. Thank you so much, Eiloghosa, for joining us. As we're starting, we'd like to thank you so much for giving us this moment and what you guys are contributing much. I've been introducing what you're doing, particularly as a woman who's engaged in restitutions, but the prominent work you working along with the digital Benin. Welcome, Eiloghosa.
Thank you so much. I hope my mic is okay.
Yes, please.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, very crystal. As you're joining, do you mind to make a bit of introduction of yourself so that you can maybe emphasize what I may be forgotten?
Okay. Yes, my name is Eiloghosa Obobaifo. I'm a Nigerian anthropologist. I'm currently working with the project Digital Benin, and I'm a researcher on the project and data steward. And I'm currently working on digitizing, or we have worked on digitizing the looted objects from 1897 from the Kingdom of Benin, and we have also um, added to the digitization. We have improved on the we have improved on the information is already that was there before, and we have given context to the object.
Thank you so much, Eiloghosa. Such a good introduction indeed. And these a living archive series, particularly the July, will be covering mostly the narratives, power, and the digital memory. Starting from that perspective, when they say in the digital humanities, when they say narratives, what does it really mean? And why the power mostly aligned with these digital humanities, the heritage, the cultural, and so that we may really understand why that there is really contributing to the digital memory.
Okay, so when you say narrative, it depends on perspective. Okay, so narrative can come, a narrative about a particular culture can come from different perspectives, and it also um, depends on who is telling the story, who is give this narrative? From what point of view is this person telling the story? That's why for us in Digital Benin, it was imperative that we tell the story from an edocentric point of view, because what was out there, or what has been out there all this while, was mainly or largely from European archivists or European perspective. So we decided to the um, take the story and make the story ours, which it is ours, but then we tell our stories ourselves from the authentic um, culture, or where the story originated from. So it's important that we tell our story ourselves and tell it without embellishment. We understand that not all the time the stories are um, they're glorious, okay, but then it's not a reason for us to embellish history. So we should tell it the way it actually is.
Wow. You emphasizing something great, community centric. And this is all about the
Yeah.
bottom up approach, which most of international organizations losing. It's critical, particularly within culture and creative industries. And when it comes to the digital humanity, we tell the narratives of the community, and of course, we have to engage them. And wow, this really brings what does really an archive means within this the perspective of narratives, because archive is not an artifact. I mean, the tangible thing, assets, as most people likely to think, can even be a memory, can be the knowledge, can be the know-how,
Yes.
and this is the beginning of our LA, I mean, July series, where the narratives, power, digital memory are going to be emphasized on. Eiloghosa, as we're moving forward, when we say the archives as narrative infrastructure, what does mean to you?
Well, for me, archives are not just um, documents or tangible documents. Archives could also be a memory from someone.
Yeah.
Someone could be holding a memory as an archive, or someone's memory could be seen as an archive. And this is why it is important to digitize. So when we have opportunity to speak with people from um, people that are way older, that hold these stories or narratives, it's important to now digitize this information we are getting, because um, we know as humans we won't live forever. So when we lose people that hold this information without digitizing, we lose an archive. So for me, archives could be in different forms, and the most important is getting the authentic um, story from the, I would say, our elders. Our elders in the community. These people I also see as archives,
Yeah.
because they hold memory of events and historical events that we ought to document as well.
Wow. 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 That's all about the way archive may be considered as an narrative infrastructure. And when you assess the archives with the perspective of museum, last month series we came to realize that sometimes what are exhibited, it's a portion of archive in which a curator choose to really display. And I mean, giving the access to. And when it comes to the archive, we had that
I'm sorry,
the
I
legitimacy. Yes, please.
you. I think it's my network. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I think I lost the last a minute and a half of what you said. I think.
Okay, I
Yes.
was saying, actually, what you allowed the way to perceive archive as an infrastructure, as a narrative infrastructure, in relationship to the most commonly known institution for the archive, even though they choose to display a portion of archive, not entirely, because as a curator, you go around the archives and you choose what you need and the narrative behind. We came to realize that these institutions sometimes are not serving, and the museum itself, when in comparison with Shrinium, it is something else. It leads me to this question: how do narratives likely to shape institutions before institutions began shaping society?
Mm, well,
in,
like I
in,
said, I
in
think it
regards and in relationship with our indigenous knowledge system, could be maybe make something meaningful. Yeah.
exactly. Like I said, I think it depends on who is giving this narrative, who is, you know, giving this
Mm,
information. I
mm,
mentioned earlier that most of the information we had
mhm,
on were writ- that were written
mm,
were mainly from European perspectives.
mm, mm,
So
mm,
necessary that
mm,
we start giving our own narrative from the African perspective, from our indigenous communities. We start telling our stories and
mm.
giving the right information and perspective of.
Is it my network, Eiloghosa? Can you hear me well?
I don't know.
Okay, now I can hear you well. Actually, it was cutting off, but now I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Please go ahead.
Yes, I was saying that it was important for us to give these narratives from our indigenous perspectives to
Mm,
maybe even counter what is already out there, because
mm,
sometimes it could have been
mm.
biased and not entirely true.
Definitely. Yeah, who's shaping it and what the purpose? It's something else you blood on the table. And wow, thank you so much for that, A Logosa. Uh, Sometimes we wonder why are narratives becoming strategic assets in the digital age? Can you
I think
hear me?
it's back now. Yes.
I was asking, why are narratives becoming strategic assets in the digital age?
Why?
Are narratives becoming strategic asset in the digital age? Because the storytelling, when you're assessing the marketing, when you assess the context of media and communication, the PR, why does really these narratives becoming strategic assets, particularly in this digital age?
Um, I think a good example would be when we have different information on social media and we're not
Yeah.
able to, filter and get what is actually the authentic version, because a lot of people have different perspectives. So I think it is important for cultural practitioners um, to make this a to put this in the forefront, to put the real information or the authentic version of the
Mm.
information out there before it becomes diluted. However, even when it becomes diluted, there could be traces of authenticity in the
Mm.
information given if maybe people go to do further research, then they can then see, the authentic version.
Definitely. Wow. Yes. Eiloghosa, I know you have a limited time. Maybe with a few questions addressed to you before heading to the next session. And thank you anyway for this time you gave us. And what responsibilities digital platforms have in preserving authentic stories?
Well,
And you may use
I think
digital Benin as a case study.
yes. So using digital Benin as an example, I think
Mm.
our responsibility is to uh, center the indigenous voices of the people of the community. You know,
Mm.
center the voices
Totally
of the
agree.
indigenous of the indigenous people, and also um, not just cataloging, not just putting it or putting the information out there the way it has always been from the various institutions. Also
Mm.
trying to uh, you know either confirm or
Mm.
challenge the information gotten from institutions.
Absolutely.
So with that, you also still need to work with the community. You also need to work with people from the community of origin where this object or whatever information you are trying to document is coming from. So you can't do it in isolation. You can't do it
Yeah.
without speaking with these people because they are the original knowledge holders of you know and we know with African documentation it has always been oral history passing down from
Mm.
generation to generation. But then now that we have this opportunity to digitize all of this, so it is important that we have the authentic version to put out there.
You truly mean it, Eiloghosa. You truly mean it. And wow, it hears me to the last but not least question. We found that the community are at the center of any digital humanity, particularly the digital heritage and cultural innovation.
I can't
From
hear
that
you.
perspective, excuse me, can you hear me? Eiloghosa, can you hear me well? Can you hear me, please? Eiloghosa?
I think I can hear you now.
Okay. Thank you. Some connectivity issue though. Actually, we've found that how the human-centered design likely to be applied within the digital heritage and digital humanities, and we found that beside of being the African narratives have been oral traditions rather than any other format, we really understood how to start from the scratch with the community really matters. And it brings to me to ask, how can an African
I'm really
institution,
sorry. I think the internet is bad. I think
can you
maybe
hear
it's mine.
me? Is it yours?
I can hear you
Can you
now.
hear me now? You can
Yes, I
hear me
can hear you
now?
now.
All right.
Yes.
Straight into the question. How can African institutions reclaim ownership of their narratives? Because sometimes when you assess the restitution, and we've been together on this particularly along the Open Restitution Africa, and within the assessment we made, we found how most the Western institutions don't likely to restitute, bring back the archives, whether the tangible or intangible. They want to share the digital copy. What do you think? How can African institutions reclaim their ownership of their narratives instead of saying could be maybe a shareable, like a
Well,
corporate, like a
I think
ownership? Huh?
persistence. Can you hear me?
Yes, please. Yes, Eiloghosa. I can hear. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please. Please go ahead, Eiloghosa. We can hear you very well. Connectivity issue though. We can hear you a bit. Okay. As he's coming to join back, as wherever you're following us, you're catching us from, go in the comment and respond to some of the questions we dropped there, and the contribution really matters. We're coming to you, and if you'd like to join us and contribute as you wish, here I can give. I can give the link. I can give the link. Whoever feels like wants to really contribute on this, join via that studio link, and you'll be together with us. This is a conversion now. Eiloghosa, as you come back, thank you so much for coming back, Eiloghosa. Can you hear me? Can you hear
I'm
me now?
unable to hear you clearly, and I think maybe my internet is bad.
Okay. Actually, we've been concluding with the last question. How can African institutions reclaim ownership of their narratives? Have you had my question? Mhm.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please. I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, Eiloghosa.
Okay, so I think um most times Western institutions would not want to return or restitute their return the African belongings.
Mm.
However, I think we as Africans should make a strong um, case for our historical belongings because some of them are not even supposed to be in museums in the first place. So
Mm.
there's some of these objects that being in the museum is um, a desecration of uh, heritage.
Matriation and repatriation,
Oh
if
my,
I'm
I
catching you
don't
well.
know.
Yeah, I can hear you well.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
You can hear me well. Okay.
Yeah.
Ah,
Mm.
okay. Internet. So I'm saying that we should make a strong case for the return of the object. or African belongings, whatever they are, maybe human remains or fact being in the museum are, I would say, disrespectful because some of them were not even meant to be seen out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's experiencing a connectivity issue, but as she's emphasizing, this is really pretty much responding to how African institutions reclaim ownership of their narratives. When yes, Eiloghosa, as you came back, I was emphasizing on return. They're all five eras: return,
I'm unable to
restitution,
hear you clearly.
repatriation. Maybe a connectivity issue, but if you don't mind, you can go ahead. We can hear you very well. Please go ahead, Eiloghosa. Can you hear me?
I'm unable to hear you clearly. Can you hear me?
Yeah, please go ahead. Eiloghosa, please go ahead. We can hear you. Eiloghosa, if you can hear me, we can hear you too. Please go ahead. All right. So that's all about how we can reclaim the ownership of our narratives, because most of the African archives are in Europe. And Eiloghosa, you can go ahead,
Yes.
please. Mm.
Okay, so I was saying, sorry about that. I was saying
Mm.
that, um, excuse me. Okay, so I was saying that the we as Africans should be able to advocate for the return of this cultural belongings because some of these objects were not supposed to live in places where they are right now, say the museum or um, other holding facilities. So we should,
Yeah.
I think, be persistent in the in asking for these objects back
Mm.
because they would really not want to return or release the object. But then I think it's just persistence. And we are if we are able to um, you know, have our own institutions to be say world class standard to house these objects, if we then decide that these objects could be housed in museums, or even if they need to be returned to Earth, if that is what their initial they were initially intended to be for, you know.
Mm.
So I think there could be a lot of advocacy, even more than there is already from the African side.
Wow. The archive as narrative infrastructure, particularly as we've been focusing on how archive influence meaning, legitimacy, and the collective memory in a digital age, you brought something amazing that even though we, in digital humanities, we intend to digitize all of these archive, the knowledge, but some are going to be restricted, some are going to be private. And you brought the way some of the artifacts should not
Yeah.
being even in a museum. And this is another approach we may go with when we go much into the archive. And thank you so much, Eiloghosa. And what you think can a young, Africa, we are shifting from adopting the digital transformation, but we're still striving to have our independent digital infrastructure, the internet, the servers. How do you think the digital heritage preservationists we may do, not only in terms of cybersecurity, but how to really keep these archives in a proper way from your experience as someone who have been this for a while? Can you hear me, Eiloghosa?
I couldn't get you. I'm sorry.
Okay, I was asking what you think, like a caution approach we can go with digital heritage, particularly the way we are much into digitization. How do you think if we found some artifact are not really belong in being in the museums, how do you think all of these
Yeah,
digital
of course.
assets may be
That
secured?
may be secured.
Maybe restricted demographically, geographically, maybe asking the process to ask for having an access, as if you go in archives, you don't
Yeah,
access
so
anything from there
that's
directly.
where ethical guidelines come
Thank
in.
you. Hmm.
So that's where ethical guidelines come in. So, like I said, I think I mentioned earlier that some of these objects or some of these artifacts are not even supposed to be seen by certain people or placed in museums. You know,
Hmm.
culturally, there are some objects that could be seen maybe only once or twice a year. So we should,
Hmm.
as Africans, know how to distinguish these objects and know the ones that would then say, okay, these ones can go in the museum, or these ones can return to us, or these ones can be placed in used for research purpose, or even the
Hmm.
ones that need to be reintroduced into ritual practices.
Yeah.
Okay, so falls on
The
us as
enemy of the
Africans.
best. Yes, please. Yeah, please go
Yeah,
ahead.
so that falls
Hmm.
on us as Africans to be able to have these guidelines
Hmm.
and how to display and what to display and what not to display. So it is
Absolutely.
our responsibility as the owners of the belongings.
Yeah, thank you so much, Eiloghosa. But before going, you can go without asking you in any question in regards to the artificial intelligence. The data sets are there, but we are the one to train the models, right? From the assets that we have, what, and sometimes I'd like to adopt this statement that there is no artificial intelligence without considering the African intelligence. What you think a good approach we can go with, uh, you know, digital memory? Because we found mostly when we talk about archives, have been the memory of someone's a community, knowledge transfer, intergenerational learning. Now the the AI has brought to to keep your archive to someone else. If I want to ask, I don't have anything in my mind in regards to how oral traditions have been. I have to go and ask somewhere else. Which ethical way do you think we can approach the AI, particularly to the proper archiving? Eiloghosa, maybe the network. Yeah. Can you hear me? Excuse me? Eiloghosa, thank you so much. You contributed a lot on this first week of our LA July series, in which we are actually giving the insights on what does Lily means to. I mean, we're talking about the archive as narrative infrastructure. What does it really mean to take an archive as a narrative infrastructure? And as Eiloghosa have been contributing, we thank her so much for her time, and along the way she contributed a lot. And it seems like Greg, yeah, thank you so much, LA. You can leave now. You can leave. Thank you so much, Eiloghosa. You contributed much. I think we see you soon as we be coming to concluding this A Living Archive July series. So as we continue, I'd like to go with Greg a bit. It seems like he's not going to be around, but we've been going to address to him. There's questions I think some of you may keep on responding in the comment, and I told you if you'd like to join, I've shared the link. You can come with. You can join through to contribute in this live session, and as we continue, these are the questions you're going to be responding. Drop your insights in the comment. Go there. You're going to find. For those who are watching us from LinkedIn Live. So we are about to conclude our today's session, but if you manage to join us straight away, I think you may be contributing on it. So, excuse me. All right. The question was about. Sorry. Eiloghosa, you're welcome. Eiloghosa, you're welcome.
Okay,
Eiloghosa?
thank you.
Okay. Excuse me. All right. We've been concluding within that question. I'm seeing how can we really approach the AI, and why do we want to train these models with our looking at the equals. Okay, you can be responding to the question if you don't mind. How can we train the AI models, but with the perspective of that ethical consideration of the archives? As we've been saying, some may not be exposed, but the models are really need for those data to be trained. What you think, a good approach can we go with it to have this in African-centered AI? I mean,
I
artificial
think
intelligence with African intelligence.
what would be available to train AI models will be what is available to general public as well. So I don't think it's possible to give what even within the communities there are certain things that are not general or public knowledge. So in that sense, it would also or it may also not be possible to give this information in the sense of putting it in the like training the AI models.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. I we need to leave now because I need to run.
So much, Eiloghosa. You've contributed much, and what you're doing for African heritage to go this, particularly the digital Benin, is much appreciated. And keep doing such a good work. African ancestors are proud of us, such a daughter, African daughter like you. Thank you so much for your
Thank you
time,
so much.
and your contribution
Thank
really
you.
matters.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your
Bye.
day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yes. See you, Eiloghosa. Huh? Yes, thank you so much. Let's go. We are concluding this with what does a living archive look like from the perspectives of local communities? Actually, this is what mostly Eiloghosa have been emphasizing, that oral traditions have been there within the intergenerational learning, the knowledge transfer among African community. And when it comes to how to consider the archive as narrative infrastructure, communities are there with the syllables, with the proverbs, with the philosophies, the songs, the knowledge, practices, know-how, the rituals, the norms. This is all about what does a living archive look like from the perspective of local communities, so that the knowledge is transferred from generation to another one. We may wonder again, how can tourism strengthen cultural memory instead of commercializing it? Of course, uh, we have to create this harmonious relationship among generations, so that the young must seeing the young, I mean, the elder generation as uh, a resources to running from. Yeah. Mm, if okay. Straight to what lesson can Africa offer the world about community-owned narratives? Oral traditions have been there, and that's how the memory have been created within intergenerational learning, knowledge transfer among the evening gatherings. Actually, I've been saying the parenthood of African have been giving enough your time to your I mean your children, so that may understand what's next was a knowledge transfer. Does intergenerational dialogues, the family based dialogues may be useful to bring back people. Yes. Heading back to um, how do we ensure young people become creators, not merely consumers of heritage? We must keep on sowing this mindset of cultural identity, self-esteem, uh, and keep on raising the awareness of a responsible citizenship. Because a citizen is a responsible citizen must learn from their ancestors, understand the task they have now, and of course, creating from that perspective toward the future inheritance. What do you really intend to leave for the next generation? And we can't leave behind that a decolonized educational system is very keen. So we must really decolonize our educational systems. When your ancestors have been in indigenous knowledge system, I mean, by then, before the colonization, was to really equip this generation, I mean, the young creator, with how responsible they are and how connected to their ancestors. Let me give you an example. There is a philosophical concept of who I am, and you came to realize I am those people who, I mean, the ancestors, and who are waiting to be born because of me. After understanding that, I really understood how there's task of, I mean, receiving from previous generation to be a not only knowledge bearer, not only knowledge bearer, but also as a resource to inspire the next generation. This is one of how I think we can do to ensure that people become creators, not merely consumers of heritage. And we must show the young generation the opportunities which are around the content creation, particularly the cultural content based, because we are seeing lots of people generating revenues along the way, but also contributing to their sustainable heritage preservation. Wow, thank you so much. Before leaving, I'd love to both of you to reflect on this together. I mean, the audience that we've been together. If Africa is to breed its digital future, what kind of stories should become the foundation of that future? Is it liberation struggle? Is it how indigenous knowledge systems have been created? Is it, what do you really think if Africa is to breed its digital future? What kinds of stories should become the foundation of the future? And don't forget also to mention, where do you see the greatest opportunities and the greatest risk? I'm saying, where do you see the greatest opportunities and where do you see the greatest risk? So it's your turn. It's your turn. I think as we're heading to conclude our today's session, I'd like to rewind that we've been focusing much on a living archive series, particularly the July series, where it's a very Tuesday. We'll be going to have, we started already, the narratives, power, and the digital memory. We are much on who shapes the stories that shape our future. This is a four-part global conversation series exploring how memory, power, and digital systems shape our world. So the week one, which was today's session, was all about the archive as narrative infrastructure. We've been assessing how the archives do not simply preserve memory, but they shape the meaning. We've been much focusing on how archives influence meaning, legitimacy, and collective memory in a digital age. We thank Eiloghosa who have passed and give her insights. Mr. Greg, seems like I didn't have enough time for now due to the another meeting, maybe. Yeah. And to conclude, we'd like to love to hear from each every one. I invite viewers to participate. Go in the comment and see what I'm going to write in there. It's all about what archives, what archive has shaped your understanding of your community. Was it a music? Was it an artifact? Was it a history? What was that archive that has shaped your understanding of your community? Again, I'd like you to respond to who you think should own. I'm saying, who do you think should own digital memory? Uh, the last but not least, we are again asking who should, what stories do you believe future generations deserve to inherit? Please share your thoughts on the question in the comment. Today's discussion reminds us that archives are not passing repositories, they influence culture, they influence identity, they influence policy, and ultimately, they influence the future we brought together. Thanks so much, Eiloghosa Obobaifo, and Greg did manage to attend you maybe his other meeting is in by now, for sharing your insights and experience with us. Join us next week, Tuesday, for week 2, where we'll be going with changes amatwara. Kurya buri changes amatwara. I mean, buri hindura amatwara changes amatwara. Hence, we'll be seeing what does, I mean, I was saying, who those don't understand Kinyarwanda, I've been saying every revolution has, let's say, a campaign, mobilization surround. So we'll be assessing for the week 2, what does really media, influence, and cultural power playing. We'll explore how media ecosystems in general shape public imagination, cultural legitimacy, and influence in a digital age. On behalf of IRAGE Corporation LC and the Digital Heritage Preservation Platform, thank you for joining this edition of our Living Archive. Remember, archives preserve memory, but narratives shape the future. I repeat again, archives preserve memory, but narratives shape the future. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next Tuesday on LinkedIn Live. Thank you.